Hi everyone, it's Nicole Wilkins with FitnessRx for Women, and this is my next question and answer segment where I took your questions from Facebook and I'm going to answer them for you today. The first question I have is, I am a physique competitor and have trouble knowing exactly how to dress my body when I'm not in gym clothes, which isn't very often. Any suggestions about how to balance muscularity with femininity in casual to business to outgoing looks? Well, I struggle with this as well because I'm in workout clothes all the time. And for me to find clothes that fit my shoulders right and fit my thighs right, some of the things I like as far as jeans go is definitely stretch jeans, jeans that have a little bit of give on them so they kind of hug your body a little better. I always get the waist tailored in because even if they fit me right in the quads, they're usually too big in the waist. As far as upper body, upper like shirts and stuff like that, I like halter tops because I think it accentuates the shoulders. I like stretchy fabrics, so if I get button-up shirts, a lot of times they make me look like a tent because in order for them to fit my shoulders right, they're too loose in the waist. I like a lot of maxi dresses and spring dresses, skirts and tank tops, obviously sweaters. But I like Express, they have a lot of loose tunics now, and of course leggings and boots, those are always good with a scarf. Hi, I have a question for Nicole. What specific exercises target and add thickness for the small back muscles, the infraspinatus, teres major, and minor? Thank you. I was a little thrown off by this question because usually you don't want to build thickness in those areas. They're such a small muscle. You want to build thickness more in like the lat, the upper middle back, like your rhomboids, your trapezius, like those muscles. As far as the teres major and minor and the infraspinatus, those make up the rotator cuff. So the teres major, in order to work that muscle, more like this stuff, as well as adducting the arm, so it's right in here, and then also internal rotation, so putting your elbow near your side and then bringing your arm into your body. So if you're at a cable or use bands, go really light here. You do not need to go heavy because these are such a small muscle group. You don't want to hurt yourself. So use 2.5 pounds and lay on your arm on a bench and bring it into your body, or stand up and use a band, which I like to do, internally rotate. And as far as the teres minor and infraspinatus, keep your elbow same spot and then bring your arm the other way. So external rotation will work those little muscle groups. I usually do those exercises at the beginning of my workout because that helps keep your shoulders stable and reduces your risk of shoulder injuries as you are lifting heavier and get older. So they're not really muscles that you want to build thickness, but you do want to hit them using those exercises. When keeping track of your macros, do you count the fat in things like meat and oatmeal, as well as the obvious fat sources like olive oil and nuts? So yes, I do keep it in consideration. For example, if I were to have steak or salmon or sea bass, those meats and fish contain more fats, so I would count that toward my fat source. However, the residual in like chicken, which may be 1 or 2 grams, I usually don't count that a whole lot. Same with like whey protein powder. Sometimes it's got 1 or 2 grams of fat. I don't really focus on that too much because it could get a little bit overwhelming. Same thing with like the little bit of carbohydrates you have in your nuts. I mean, I would consider the nut more of a fat source. So use the majority of what that food is made up of as that source for the day. So keep it in mind, but I wouldn't get so stressed out about it a little bit. What is the best move to isolate the glutes? I'm trying to not involve my quads so much. Okay, so to work the glutes without hitting the quads a whole lot, I would do cable kickbacks. So if you're at your cable and you see the strap that goes around your ankle, it usually is a leather strap, hook it around, face the weight stack lean forward, and then bend the knee, and then drive the leg back. So that way the quad is pretty much out of the picture altogether. A little bit, you'll be pushing a little bit, but it's mostly in the glute. Keep the leg straight, or you can kick it out and bend it. If you have a butt blaster machine, that's also a really good exercise to target the glutes as well. Usually you're on your hands and knees, your foot is on the platform in the back, and then you're driving your heel up to the ceiling. So those are two that I would recommend. The next question is, what do you eat before bed? I normally have a huge salad with veggies, but my stomach has really been acting up and seems to not be digesting the food very well, which leaves me very bloated and sick before bed. Do you ever feel like this? And what are your suggestions for a filling and satisfying meal before bed that won't be so hard on my stomach? Okay, so I wouldn't eat so many vegetables where you can't move. That might be part of the issue. Vegetables shouldn't really make you feel bloated and that uncomfortable unless you're eating an excess amount. So just keep it to a minimum, and I usually drink more tea. I usually make egg whites with scrambled and spinach with a little salad. Keep it so that you're not so stuffed full of vegetables. Drink enough water. Another thing that you could do is take a digestive enzyme, which can help break down your foods a little bit more efficiently. But yeah, I also watch the type of vegetables you're eating. Some will make you feel more bloated than others. For example, Brussels sprouts and broccoli. Sometimes if you eat those too much, you may not want to be around anybody because it gives you bad gas, but also because it makes your stomach feel very bloated. So stick with foods like asparagus. I'm trying to think. Spinach obviously is pretty light. Cucumbers for me are okay. Peppers. Foods that are a little bit less, you know what I mean? They are a little bit easier on the stomach. And why do you not train your legs heavy anymore? Is there a point where we should not lift heavy? Everyone keeps saying that getting bulky from lifting heavy is a myth. I'm a little confused on this. I actually do train my legs heavy, but I also keep my repetitions higher. So I don't do like 6 to 8 reps. I usually do 15 to 20, 25 reps. The weight is heavy so that like literally the last 10 I'm having a hard time, but it's not so heavy that I can't complete that amount of reps. So I get a lot of blood flow to the working muscle. You want to challenge yourself for sure. You don't just want to go do throughout the training session and lift such a light weight that you're not really benefiting from it. So I think it really depends on your body type. There was a period of time where I needed to bring my legs down a lot, so I did skip out on legs and just work on like track and sprints and stuff like that because they were overpowering my physique. But now they're at a point where I can start adding more weight training in. I just have to monitor it. So I don't want to have that, I want to create more roundness and better shape to them. So I wouldn't be afraid to lift heavy. Most women don't have enough muscle in their legs. They have a lot of body fat. So by building that lean muscle will help burn that body fat. And the last question I have is, my trainer put me on a strict clean diet which consisted mostly of lean protein and green vegetables. I recently spoke to a dietitian who told me there's no reason I can't be eating sauces, condiments, etc. because it's all about calories in versus calories out, and it doesn't matter what the calories consist of. If I work with a deficit, then I can get lean. Now I'm utterly confused. Everybody in this industry eats clean, so is it necessary to be so strict? And if so, can you explain why? Well, to answer your question, yes and no. First of all, yes, it is calories in, calories out. A calorie is a calorie. But if you had one person that was eating a nutritious, balanced meal plan with lean proteins, carbohydrates, fats, fruits, and vegetables, and then you had somebody eating the same amount of calories consisting of Snickers bars, ice cream, and candy, I would guarantee that those two body types won't look the same. Even though their weight may be similar, their body structures will be totally different. one has a lot more nutrients and vitamins, and you're getting a lot of balanced nutrition. The other one is consisted of a lot of high sugar, processed, chemically processed foods. So it is important to have healthy choices. Can you get away with some condiments here and there? Yes, of course. But a lot of condiments have a lot of sugar and saturated fats. So maybe making your own or relying on condiments that are more natural, like mustards, salsas, sea salt, that kind of thing, instead of teriyaki sauce or barbecue sauce or ketchup. So yes and no. Make nutritious, healthy choices, but it really depends on what your ultimate goal is. So those are my answers for your questions this week. Until next time, keep asking your questions on the FitnessRx for Women Facebook page, and I'll be back every Friday to answer them for you. Keep living the fit life.